Happy Sunday night, everybody. I apologize again, everyone, for us not having a show after Friday night's very disappointing Golden State Warriors loss at home to the Portland Trail Blazers. I had a good reason. I was actually at the game. I even had a chance to briefly interview Steve Kerr, and I don't know if panic buttons are being pressed yet. I don't know if panic buttons should be pressed at this point. But there are concerning issues. I know JV in our chat's asking, am I baiting you folks? No, we're live. I'm here. Hello. Hope you're doing well. And again, there are issues with the Golden State Warriors right now. And there's a huge reason why I waited until Sunday and not yesterday to do the show, because I wanted to hear from Steve Kerr after today's practice. And there's even more information, more context about just what's going on with this team. Like, why are they a 500 team? Why are the wrong players being played? Why is Jonathan Kuminga MIA? He's not going to play in Monday's game. Who knows when we'll see him again? Ways Uncensored asking, I didn't know you had connects like that. I'll repeat myself again. I've been covering the Golden State Warriors for 25 years professionally. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not let what you see on social media paint a picture of reality. It's not. Social media is one of the most toxic entities to ever exist in human history. Outside of opening up transparency a bit, outside of exposing some corruption. It's bad news. It ain't real life. Yeah, I am actually connected. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but thank you for the compliment. Better late than never. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what's going on with the Warriors, because that loss Sunday night was very disappointing. At least they celebrated Rick Barry's 1975 Warriors. I actually had a chance to be up close with the actual championship trophy from that season. I didn't even know it was like a different trophy, it had a different name and everything. We'll talk about some good things, some interesting things that I learned being at Chase Center Friday, and what we've learned the last few days with the Warriors as a whole. So let's break it down. Are we worried a little bit? When I say we, I mean folks have an emotional attachment and interest to the Golden State Warriors. Season's also very early. Happy Sunday night. The Niners didn't play. I guess they play on Monday night. Let's get into it. We are powered by FanDuel, and this is the Golden Days. Let's go. Welcome to the program. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads and Instagram at DogWild. Over on Twitter, my handle is at Surf Journalist. The program on those platforms at Golden Days Pod. And I'm very excited that we're making some inroads towards sponsorship. Side note again, if you're interested in being a part of this program as an advertiser / sponsor / media partner, reach out to us. The email address is very simple. If you want to contact us, it's warriors24pod@gmail.com. Again, warriors24pod@gmail.com, so you can get the kind of love that we give to clients like FanDuel. The FanDuel sponsorship is fun because all they want me to do is just talk about the sportsbook and lines and what's available. Well, I can tell you this, the Niners tomorrow night, they're playing Monday Night Football. They are 7.5-point favorites over the Carolina Panthers. More specifically, though, for the beat we cover here, and that is the Golden State Warriors and the NBA as a whole. The Warriors are hosting the Utah Jazz tomorrow night. Normally, typically, I'd look at a game like that and think to myself, woo, they got an easy one. They've got a game that they could kind of like just have a nice, good old-fashioned blowout. They could just a comforting, relaxing affair, not tense, not tight. Well, the bookies agree with that sentiment. If that's how you feel, the Warriors are 15-point favorites, a 1 followed by the number 5. Yes, 15. That's how much they are favored by to beat the Utah Jazz at home tomorrow night. The money line, if you think Utah can pull it off, And I'm worried a little bit about that because Utah is a fast young team. And those are the teams that give the Warriors problems, especially with Kuminga not going to be available again tomorrow night. And especially with Steve Kerr and his love affair for these 4-guard lineups. God damn it. We're going to, there's a lot I need to reveal and discuss and break down. We'll do that in just a minute. But again, 15-point favorites. That's what the Warriors are. If you're feeling good about the Jazz, the money line is plus 640 to bet on Utah to win outright. The OU for that game, 239.5. I'm dying to know who's going to cover Ace Bailey. I'm dying to know who's going to cover Lauri Markkanen if he's playing. I don't have the injury. Let me look up the injury report real quick for that game, just to see if we know who's going to play. There are some developments about the Golden State Warriors regarding that injury report, and I think we start there really quickly because right now on the official NBA injury report, and this can be updated quite a bit between now and tomorrow night. Again, we're recording this on Sunday night. If you're catching a recording of this, if you're watching this on Monday, I hope the start of your week is going okay. My deepest sympathies and condolences for the fact that you are enduring a Monday. We all are. It's, what can you do? Well, for the Utah Jazz, they have 5 players listed as out. 3 of those 5 are two-way players. We'll disregard that. Elijah Harkless, Walker Kessler, who's out for the year, and George Niang, who does give the Warriors problems when he plays against them. They're all out. But everyone else on Utah will be available, and that includes the 2 names I mentioned a moment ago, Lauri Markkanen and Ace Bailey, the rookie, having some moments early in the season. Now, for the Golden State Warriors, the injury report for them, let me get you a long-ass page of injuries. So Draymond Green is going to be questionable. He's dealing with a foot sprain. It's the right foot more specifically. I believe he suffered that injury in Friday's loss against the Trailblazers. Al Horford is out indefinitely. He's dealing with, at least on the injury report, I know he got some tests for like his hamstring or groin or something like that, but the injury report is listing that his injury is the same as what LeBron James was suffering, a right sciatic nerve irritation. That is what they're listing it as. I'm sorry. So Al Horford will not play for the Warriors tomorrow night. And this comes off some of the rhetoric Kerr was saying after the game about the team needing some more size. You think? Jonathan Kuminga is also out with a bilateral knee patellar tendonitis issue. And DeAnthony Melton remains out again November 29th, a week from today. Or less than a week from today. I apologize. A week from Sunday. So a week from Saturday. I apologize. So in 6 days, we will get an update on the DeAnthony Melton front because the team will desperately need him. I still have no clue what's going on with Seth Curry. When I was at the game Friday, I did ask a few trusted sources, what's the deal? Why is he not signed and in a Warriors uniform? And all I keep getting from everybody I ask, including folks who typically are very much in the know, is, and if you're listening to the podcast, I shrugged because I have no clue. I don't know what's going on with Seth Curry. I don't know why he's not in the Warriors uniform. I can tell you this. While a lot of fans likely don't think Seth Curry's the answer, and I don't blame you if you have that sentiment, he sure as shit is a vast upgrade from Podziemski, from Buddy Hield, from GP2, yet those 3 keep getting minutes. Brandon Podziemski played 30 minutes in the Trailblazers loss Friday night. GP2 played 17 minutes in that loss. Buddy Hield played 15 minutes, 37 seconds. We'll round up and say 16. I'd rather have Seth Curry take those minutes. He's not a regression defensively from any of those 3, and he's a vast upgrade offensively. I don't understand what's going on. And the more you hear in terms of me revealing things, I think the more disconcerted you're going to get about what's going on with the Golden State Warriors. The look I see right now, and this is where I'm very concerned. I thought the sirens were going to get put away. I originally had sirens blaring when Stephen Curry was struggling to begin the year. Remember, he had the cold, and even before that, he looked kind of just off, right? And I was freaking out. Yeah. Sit tight. The sirens aren't blaring tonight because of Steph. They're blaring because of the head coach, Steve Kerr. What I have learned in all my years on this planet, and I'm starting to get up there. I'm no longer exactly a spring chicken. I'm not old, but I'm in that middle age, midlife type portion of our existence. And if I've learned anything, it's that when organizations have issues, it's almost always because of a lack of communication. Almost always. And I'm seeing a very serious communication issue between Steve Kerr and the rest of his team. And I'm going to give you some direct evidence of that in just a second. But even before I get into the communication problems, of which there are many, I want to first play you my question that I asked Steve. I sat down with Steve Kerr. Not sat down with him, but I was in the a Friday night. I was part of the press pool, and I thankfully got a question in. And it was a question I've been wanting to ask Steve for a long time. And his answer did nothing to make me feel better. His answer was just literally, I'd say, what you'd expect. And the question had to do with the numerous amount of starting lineups this team has executed the last 3 years. And when the mic was handed to me to ask a question of Kerr, he had just been talking about team identity. And so the timing was perfect in the sense of me bringing up the fact that over the last 3 years, you have these insane high number of starting lineups, different combinations, a lack of consistency, a lack of stability. And this was Kerr's answer. So let's hear that first. We'll break that down a little bit, and then we'll fast forward to all the stuff that's happened today. And the evidence of miscommunication. But before I play this, this is my sentiment real fast on Steve Kerr. He's coaching like a man who sees a dynasty at its end, and he's got 1 foot out the door. And if I'm misreading this, forgive me. This is just my personal take on this. But when you see all the evidence that will ensue, maybe you'll understand why I think like this. And I hope I'm wrong on that front. I'm not saying this is a fact, but Kerr is just not treating this job like it's a 24/7 commitment. He's treating it like I've had a hell of a run here and I'm kind of over it. That's the sense I'm getting. And that's crazy. So I asked Steve Kerr again about all these rotations and what his reasoning is behind it and whether or not it helps with team identity. So here was Steve Kerr answering my question Friday night. Hi, Coach. Speaking of combinations, I don't know if you've announced the starting lineup tonight. I did some digging on numbers. I hope these are correct. 2 years ago, you had 27 starting lineups. Last year, 38. This year, 7 and counting. I was wondering if you could elaborate on the reasoning behind that. And you brought up identity, and I'm curious to know how that affects the identity of the team, if at all.
Well, everyone knows I'm a socialist. So as a socialist, I just believe everybody should have equal opportunity, regardless of the circumstances. So, sorry, I couldn't resist. By the way, that clip will be online in about 2 minutes, and people will. It's already there. Yeah, I told you so. He's a socialist. It might even turn into communist at this. Within a half hour, I will be a communist. No, I think. Some of that is injuries. Some of that is you're searching. Last year we were searching. After the hot start, we were searching, and nothing made perfect sense until we got Jimmy. Once we got Jimmy, the lineup stayed pretty much the same. And so early in my career here, we started the same group over and over again. So it all depends on your team. But I do believe in tinkering if things aren't going well. And So yeah, I've tinkered quite a bit the last couple of years. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, for 75.
And again, the reasoning was not answered for 2 years ago. The reasoning was not answered for this year. All he brought up was injuries last year. And again, this is Steve Kerr. This is why I've given up a long time ago in terms of trying to nail him with questions. He's a media savant. He knows exactly how to turn a tough question into a comical moment, calling himself a socialist there, and as a joke in terms of all the different lineups he puts out there. But no addressing the identity part of it. No, the man likes to tinker. And in what world is that good coaching? I don't know. But that was Steve Kerr's answer to that question. So and again, I don't know what you can say or do about that. It's just one of those things. Here's an even crazier part. That was the first time in a little while that Steve and I had actually had a face-to-face. Steve and I have a fairly long, we have a relationship of sorts. And he sat down with me in Denver, Colorado back, I think in 2019. And we had a really awesome conversation about surfing. And because he's one of the only NBA figures who actually surfs. And Judd Bushler, former Chicago Bulls, big, his Steve Kerr's buddy. Judd Bushler is like a huge longboarder. Longboarding is just a surfing, but with a bigger board, and that's what Kerr does as well. And it was a fun experience sitting down with him. And I've engaged with him in press conference settings a few times since. He's a very charming individual. Before he got to me in the press conference, there was some former beat reporter who hadn't been there in a long time, and she was there tonight. I don't know why she was there. She was on a different assignment, but came to the game. And he, of course, addresses her by first name, remembers her. Like his charm campaign is impressive. He charms the pants out of everyone. And this is where, again, if you're a media professional, if you're a journalist, you can't let those kinds of tactics get to you and influence you. Yet that's what's happened with local media. They all think he's the greatest guy ever. He is affable. He is, again, when the charm is turned on, you see the effects of it, right? He's a likable dude, but doesn't mean you should not be asking serious questions. And this is where, again, I've constantly pointed the finger at my colleagues in this media scene. Part of the problem is the industry as a whole. They're not hiring top talent anymore. They haven't been for a long time because being a beat reporter doesn't exactly pay you top dollar. But still, there are folks out there with competency who are willing to take on these jobs and do it proper. And but unfortunately, for the most part, those are not the people actually in charge. That was Friday night. Fast forward. Oh, and I'm going to revisit Friday because I want to give Rick Barry his due. I also want to talk a little bit about his appearance in the broadcast booth. I did not catch that, obviously, at the game. But some people got their feathers ruffled because apparently Rick wasn't nice enough to Kalena Azubuike. Never mind the fact that Kalena kind of started the awkwardness. And I'll explain what I mean in just a moment. This was again Friday night as part of the Warriors celebrating and honoring the team celebrating their 50th anniversary of that 75 title. And I also was in the press room for when that team was in there. That part was really fun, and we'll revisit that in a little bit. But I want to keep this on the Warriors and Kerr because we fast forward to today. The Golden State Warriors had practice, all right, which is not something that they've done much of recently, largely because of this insane schedule they're dealing with, where they played an exorbitant amount of games, most of them on the road. You're already seeing a lot of folks who love to come up with apologies for the Warriors struggling by saying, well, the strength of schedule is a huge part of it. Yeah, it doesn't excuse losing to the Trailblazers and various other games, but I digress. Nonetheless, the team has not practiced much. They had a practice today, and Steve Kerr addressed the media after. And when the topic of Jonathan Kuminga came up, it got a little disconcerting. And this is courtesy of hope you folks are still with me because my internet, something's going on here. Hold on. Or maybe it's just the website I was using. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. So I want to get to this soundbite here. So the clip itself is courtesy of Kenzo Fukuda, who is a Warriors beat reporter. I don't think he travels with the team, but when they're at home, he's part of the press pool, although I don't remember seeing him Friday night either. But nonetheless, he at least posted this clip. Thank you, Kenzo, for this. And this clip was the surest shine pass rush. I was anytime I hear a mixing of or a congruence of I always think of Chris Collinsworth not being able to say pass rush. He goes the pass rush. Sorry for doing that. But Kenzo Fukuda posted this clip, and it shows to me that there is a massive issue with communication. And I'll break down what I mean in just a second. But here is Steve Kerr today following practice, and he was asked about Kuminga because this team sorely misses him. And his answer was, again, a little disconcerting. Here is Steve Kerr again. This was from this morning or early afternoon following Warriors practice. And Kerr was asked about Kuminga, who's missed, 4 or 5 games now. He missed, I think, 4 of the 6 games on the road trip. He's been dealing again with tendonitis in the knee. We're all expecting him back. Well, he ain't coming back Monday. And he also didn't practice today. And apparently Steve Kerr doesn't talk to his player. Listen for yourself.
Did Jonathan practice?
Kind of. He did a few things.
I
don't know where he's got to tell you where he is. He didn't do anything. We did we didn't do scrimmages, but we did live drill work, and he barely did any of that. So not moving well. So training staff working with him, and I have no idea what he's doing.
It's been day to day for 2
Yes.
weeks now. What's the concern level? Either he's not progressing or he's still not feeling the way he should be.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just talked to the training staff. They tell me it's day to day. So talking to JK, they said he's not moving that well. So I can't tell you what the outlook is. I think JK can tell you that better than I could. So he needs to feel better and be able to move better before we can put him out there. And so maybe we'll get imaging done on the knee, but yeah, we gotta figure it out. We missed it. We played in Miami with missing all our guys. And, the other night we're tired. Like we need him, but he's got to get right before he can play. Obviously.
And it's still just the swollen. It's just the same issue it's been. The knee.
Yeah, I didn't talk to him today, but I was hoping that he was going to scrimmage today, but he didn't do that. So it's obviously worse than we thought. But I haven't.
Oh, and it just stops right there. Okay, well, the part of it that that was glaring to me was the very end of it, where Steve Kerr said he didn't even talk to him. He did not, and the communication issue is severe. How do you not like how are you not talking on a consistent basis with Kuminga? They did not literally speak today at all. I had a source at practice today who stuck around afterwards as well, and this is a very trusted inside source. Practice ends, Kerr goes poof. Kuminga was there. Kuminga's working out. He's doing rehabilitation on the knee. The training staff is taking care of him. If you're Steve Kerr, how do you not just go out of your way to actually talk and ask Kuminga, hey man, what's going on with the knee? Is it really bugging you? How are you doing? Since when has it become a faux pas to come up to somebody and go, how's life? How are the kids? How's family? How are you feeling about your role on this team? Are you happy? You're not happy? So why are you not happy? Where is the communication? Stephen Curry stuck around after practice. He was happy. Kuminga was at practice. From what I heard, he was happy. It's not like Kuminga is walking around acting melodramatic, with a sourpuss face, just, I want out of here. That's not how it's going at all. Kuminga's putting on a a smile. He's being a professional. There's only one coach on this team. And this coach does not communicate with his players. I said this once before and I'll say it again. The emperor has no clothes. If you understand the reference and you love Kuminga, that's going to offend you. I don't care. I've observed this team enough to know what's going on, at least in terms of the head coach, how he treats the players, how he treats different players differently. And now we have a massive communication issue. I love defense, who clearly is a Steve Kerr stan, saying there are several coaches. There's only one head coach. Did you know I love defense that once upon a time, not that long ago, until the 80s, teams only had one assistant? Just one. And now you're gonna pretend that Steve Kerr is justifiably behaving by not communicating with his players. It isn't just Kuminga, mind you. This is where the communication breakdown is much bigger than just Jonathan Kuminga. And here's what I mean by that. Let's go back to Friday when the Golden State Warriors lost 127-123 to the Portland Trail Blazers. Massively disappointing loss, largely because the veterans did their part. Stephen Curry, 38 points, 9 of 17 from deep. He was lighting up Chase Center. He also played nearly 4 minutes longer than what he's supposed to. I thought there was a plan in place to not strain the veterans, but Kerr's been deviating from that for quite a few games now. Stephen Curry played 33 minutes, 39 seconds in that 38-point effort. Draymond Green, 33 minutes, 58 seconds. Still had 11 points, 2 of 6 from deep, including one of those threes was laid, thank goodness. Draymond added 5 rebounds, 7 assists. And Jimmy Butler, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. The vets are doing their part. Moses Moody's not doing his part. Brandon Podziemski not doing his part. Podziemski statistically had a pretty decent night Friday night, 20 points, 2 of 5 shooting from deep. Those are good. But what's the one stat I keep bringing up with him? Assists. Podziemski plays 30 minutes and has 3. 3! To put it in perspective for you, Jimmy Butler had 5. Steph at 4. GP2, who played nearly half the minutes of Podziemski, had 4. Al Horford had the same amount of assists as Brandon Podziemski with 3. If he's this amazing connector and facilitator, why do the stats not represent that? Now, but this is where the disconnect is on full display. We're going to start first with Steve Kerr. This was after the game Friday night. And side note, when I interviewed Steve, this was before the game. That's the only time someone who's not a tier 1 reporter, because yes, there is a class system in the NBA press pool, as insane as that is. True story. And the tier 1s, they can walk into the locker room. They get front row seating in the whole press pool. And in post game, there is not enough time for everyone to get their question get their question answered. So only the tier 1s get an opportunity to ask questions. If you want Steve Kerr to actually answer your question and you're not a full-time press person, a tier 1, you got to get there super early for the pre-games. And that's what I did. After the game, Steve Kerr was asked, what was asked about the defensive consistency of a Warriors team that just gave up 127 points to Portland. And I'm about to play 3 sound bites for you. First one's going to be Steve Kerr. Second one's going to be Steph. Third one's going to be Jimmy Butler. And if these 3 sound bites don't represent miscommunication, then I don't know what to tell you. I just my communication skills are clearly poor when it comes to certain individuals, because if you don't see what's going on in terms of what's wrong from these 3 clips, I give up. I'm never going to resonate with you. Here is Steve Kerr after the game when he was asked about defensive consistency or lack thereof. And Kerr's answer may surprise you.
Why do you think the defensive consistency hasn't been the way you guys want it so far this year?
I think overall our defense has been pretty good, actually. Tonight what hurt us really was the second chance stuff. I thought Avila was fantastic. I mean, just getting downhill early in the game, he found Klingon for a couple of lobs, and that's where we decided we've got to get bigger out there, and started going to the two bigs with Al and Quentin and Draymond.
Oh, that's when you decide. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then eventually Trace as well. I think we're going to be just fine defensively. I'm not worried about our defense. I'm more worried about our offense right now. Not a whole lot of rhythm, not a lot of flow. So this week will be really good for us to get some practice time. Starting Sunday, tomorrow will be off, and we'll get some work in Sunday and a couple more practices during the week. So it should be a good week for us.
All right. Again, today was that practice where, again, Kuminga not available, Al Horford not available, Draymond Green dealing with a foot injury. He did not participate. Now I'm going to switch over to Steph, who was asked almost the exact same question after the game. And here's what Steph had to say.
I don't know. I think we've had, some bright spots, some games that we've shown we could do it for 48 minutes, and we've had some duds. Even tonight, we had ebbs and flows. Whatever the answer is, it's a reminder that you have to, fly around, be on a string, not have mental errors where you're letting guys get to their strong hands, and, game plan discipline type stuff. And I think we've struggled with that part, especially tonight, letting guys just drive right down the paint, and then we have to put pressure on our bigs to figure out if they're going to, guard the rim or guard the ball, like stuff like that. Over the course of a game, you start chasing a little bit.
All right, so that was Stephen Curry talking about the defense, saying it is a problem. And then here is Jimmy Butler, also asked the same question. And notice again, Steve Kerr's answer was offensive flow. Stephen Curry's answer was, yeah, we've got problems defensively. Here's Jimmy Butler asked the same question. Where people are saying there's no audio? It's very. Hold on, let's try that again. If you folks can't hear the audio on that, let's try this round two. Here is Jimmy Butler again. Please note this was courtesy of cell phone audio, so you might have to turn the volume up on your device one more time. Again, this was Friday night following the game. Jimmy Butler, for whatever reason, never goes to the interview room. That's where the podium is and the microphone and all that. So you can only be tier one if you want to get a question in to Jimmy Butler. And so Anthony Slater asked this one. This was courtesy of Slater. Hopefully you can hear it this time. Hopefully it works.
We just not guard nobody. That's from what I can tell. I haven't been here long, but that's never been the formula here. Not to win a championship, you got to take each and every matchup personal. Yeah, help's gonna be there, but we got to do way better guarding on this side of the ball.
How much is guarding on the perimeter what maybe kind of led to the 21 offensive rebounds?
It's everything, because you're not taking anything away. You're not taking the paint away. You're not taking away layups, free throws, lobs, threes. So we don't know where they're going to get a shot from, but tonight they was getting whatever shot they wanted.
Did it feel like a step back tonight? I mean, you sounded more optimistic at the end of the road trip about the defense and guarding.
I'm always optimistic, but I'm also honest and a truth teller. We can beat individuals on some nights whenever we're scoring the basketball. You can't always bank on shots going in for whatever reason why. You always have to be able to guard. Until we get back to guarding and taking when people score on us personally, we'll be in some I don't know what's the word. We'll be in some funk for a while, but I think we can snap out of it. We're finna practice too, so that's good. Do some closeout drills, play some one-on-one. See who got one.
Do you and Draymond sort of take it? Do you and Draymond sort of take it personally, given how much you pride yourself on defense?
Oh yeah, I do. I know for a fact he does. He be livid. He can care less about who makes what shot.
Right.
He wants to get a stop every play down the floor, as he should, because he's doing the toughest part. If you're being real, he got to help and box out and block shots and get the rebound. Honestly, I'd be pissed if I was Dre too.
And that was Jimmy Butler. And important to note as well that Anthony Slater, who asked that question, published a piece Friday, what we haven't had a chance to talk about as well, that highlighted even more of the communication issues. And Jimmy Butler was a large focus of that story that Slater wrote, which reveals a widening chasm, if you will, between Steve Kerr and Jimmy Butler in terms of how they view this team and how they view what is conducive to success. And Jimmy Butler straight up called out Steve Kerr's motion offense in that interview, saying the motion is great when you have Stephen Curry because he is a cheat code out there. He can make any offensive system look incredible. But when Steph is off the floor, defenders are not falling for gimmicks. They're not following around the ball. They're not chasing everybody who has possession. They're focusing on just the best players on the court and daring everyone else to beat them. And Phil Jackson used to say the same thing about the triangle. Like, the triangle is not that effective if you don't have talent to implement and execute it. And same goes for Steve Kerr's offense. And what Jimmy Butler was saying in this story, which is very public, is that when Steph is not on the court, ditch the motion and let myself and Kuminga handle the offense with ISO play. And he's making sense. Now, for those who think like, okay, well, at least with the size issue, you've got Al Horford. They don't have him Monday. I don't know when they're going to get him back. He's 39 years old. He can't jump. This is a massive issue that is evolving here for the Golden State Warriors. But the fact that you have Steve Kerr saying one thing, it's our offense. I don't see flow. And again, the subjective verbiage that Kerr loves to use, right? Connector, flow, like, again, this is all in his head. It's just, he sees things a certain way and he's in charge. He's in control. He has all the power. And so what he says goes. But Jimmy Butler is contradicting him right before our very eyes. And then you have the Jonathan Kuminga piece in all this. Now, here's what I could, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again in case you missed it, the last episode. I brought this up. I can tell you this for a fact. When Kuminga's minutes went down during that 6-game road trip before he started missing games because of the injury, he was not happy about his minutes being reduced. I'm telling you this as a fact from a source who directly told me this. And what particularly perturbed Kuminga is not having communication, not being told that his minutes were going to go down. And I can't remember if it was the Bucks game or the Pacers game where I can look that up right now. Because there was one game in particular where Kuminga's minutes just inexplicably dropped, right? It wasn't the Kings game. It was either the Bucks or the Pacers, if I remember correctly. But the point is that game and the series of games were just, again, Kuminga just loves scapegoating Kuminga. I'm sorry, Kerr loves scapegoating Kuminga. And at a certain point, Kuminga's just going to say, F this. Like, what's going on here? And now, again, I could tell you also as a fact that when it comes to practice, when it comes to, the way players are interacting with each other, like Kuminga and his teammates are all on the same page. He's got a great relationship with all of them. I mentioned this earlier in the show. During today's practice, he was all smiles, all business at the same time. Stephen Curry was all smiles. Like the players are like morale is not low. I'll say that. But there is a fissure between leadership and the players, between Kerr and the players. And this fissure is widening like by the day. And all Steve Kerr has to do is just communicate. Just talk to your players. Learn what's in their mind. Stop pretending you have all the answers to everything. You're just a human like everyone else. The game in particular that I'm pointing out, where Kuminga started to see the minutes go down. Was it the second Indiana game? It might have been the second Indiana game. Anyways, it was somewhere around there. It's when Kuminga started to see his minutes go down. I think it was that second Indiana game where Kuminga only played 20 minutes. I don't think he played the second half or much of it. He didn't play the fourth quarter. And it was not communicated to him that the minutes were going to be reduced. And it goes back to that question that I asked at the beginning of the show to Kerr directly. How are you creating an identity when you have nearly 40 starting lineups in a year, 30 starting lineups in a year? The Warriors have 18 games under their belt. They have 7 or 8 different starting lineups this year. How is that conducive to success? Make that make sense. It sure as shit doesn't make sense to me. So that's what's going on there. And it's a problem. Now, I feel like there's one other subject I needed to tackle, and I'll post the link here. I'm not going to bring the audience on just yet, but if you want to wait, you can. I always go in a chronological order, and who knows? Maybe it's Sunday and nobody wants to come on. Totally respect that if that's the case. On a more lighthearted note, kind of, because even on this topic, of course, you had a certain number of Warriors fans suddenly coming to the defense of Kalena Azubuike like he needs it while blasting Rick Barry. That was absolutely insane. And it's all because of Rick sitting in the broadcast booth for one of the quarters of that broadcast Friday night. And is that soundbite available? I think it is. And this will help put some context. Let me see if I can find that during a live show. Sorry for not queuing that up beforehand, but nonetheless, the 1975 Warriors were honored again. Why don't I do this? Why don't I play this soundbite first? Because I had a chance to interview, or at least throw in a question to some of the members of the 75 team. And while I'm doing that, I'll find the specific sound from the broadcast where Rick was in the broadcast booth. But I had a chance to throw in a question to these guys. That's George Johnson there. That's Jamal Wilkes there. Jamal Wilkes actually achieved quite possibly more notoriety playing with the Lakers after he left the Warriors inexplicably. Bad trade on the Warriors front. They did not win that trade, as was the case for decades with the Warriors when it came to trades. I asked them whether or not their team could adapt to the modern era, because the 75 Warriors did not have a 3-point line. And again, they came in right after Kerr. And so sit back, listen to some members of the 75 team talk about how their version of the Warriors could compete with, let's say, today's version of the Warriors. And then we'll play the soundbite from when Rick was speaking with Bob Fitzgerald and Kalena Azubuike. And things got a little awkward, but I'm not going to sit here and blame Rick for that. But listen to this cut first. Rick, you mentioned the column you wrote about the 40-year gap, your team versus the 2015 team, strength in numbers, an adage that rang true in so many senses. How do you think your team would fare in today's game? You did not have the 3-point line when you guys won the title. So how does your team's game adapt to the modern era?
Well, we would all go out and practice 3-point shooting. Even myself, I mean, I was 33%, but if I was playing today, I wouldn't be happy unless I was a 40% shooter. I mean, you just have to set standards for yourself. I can tell you're sitting right there in front of you is one of the great shooters who used to help me with my shooting. I remember I was having trouble with my shot. I go, what the hell am I doing wrong here? And I had Jeff look at me and watch, and he just a little subtle thing. He looked, he said, Rick, it looks like you're releasing the ball as you're starting to come down from your jump shot. And that was all I needed to be able to get myself back. And he was one of the great shooters. So if he had been around and playing, there's no question in my mind, Jeff would have been a 40% 3-point shooter. No doubt about it. You know, same, Butch could score and do something. If that were the case, Butch, you would have practiced 3-point shots, right? Unfortunately, Clifford probably would want to do that, and we didn't want that to happen. So, but Jamal would have been able to do it as well, right? I mean, you practice the things that you need to get better. That's why at the end of the season, I was always said, oh, what do I need to do to get better? You know, I still shot my free throws, but I'm not going to spend all my time shooting free throws. I spent my time working on those areas of the games that I felt I was a little deficient in so I could get better.
I can say that Clifford and I would love to play now with the Euro step. We could not be stopped in around the basket if we had that Euro step. So
I know. We just saw a video. Somebody brought it out yesterday at dinner. Jeff brought it out, and it's showing Giannis making a move coming down the court. He took 5 steps without dribbling and no travel call. I mean, it's unfreaking believable what they let these guys get away with, carrying the ball, traveling, the moving screens that are set. I mean, it'd be nice if the officials started to call the game according to the rule book once again.
All right, we're going to do a photo op now. Get everybody a town jersey.
Thank you.
Yeah, those jerseys are clean. I like those jerseys. I like you. You like me. I want to quickly add, Genji Gawk in the chat. Oh no, that wasn't the comment I wanted to bring up. Genji here saying that kids don't know today who Rick is. Fair assessment. Do your homework. Okay, just literally Google. It takes 2 seconds to learn who some players in this world are. I love defense. Again, is clearly. I don't know why you'd go out of your way to say Rick is an ass. Why? Because in 1981, 44 years ago, he made a bad joke sitting alongside one of the greatest players to ever do it, Bill Russell. Side note, Russell immediately forgave him for that. They maintained a friendship until the day Russell died. So why is he an ass? I love defense because I feel like every one of your words makes you an ass. With all the assumptions, with the Kerr defense, even when it makes no damn sense to defend him. Yeah, it's well documented. Give me an example of what? Because I'm here to push back and say a lot of what's documented is bullshit. You are an ass. Yes, at least you admit that. Okay, I appreciated self-awareness. That's a good thing. Those two next to Rick right there are still close friends with him. Clifford Ray, his teammate, who was not on the podium, he was sitting next to me or near me, one of his best friends. And again, I love defense. It's your opinion. Okay, why do you have an opinion that slanders someone else, let alone one of the greatest warriors ever? Ever. I think that's a pretty indisputable fact. But you have negative opinions of him. Why? And see, now I'm starting to figure out that this clown, I love defense. Now you're taking what I write on Twitter. Some asshole who comes in my replies and lies. And I took a brief look at what this person wrote on his account. Just pure ignorance, hate. Yeah, so I told him the world would be a better place if they drove off a cliff. And I don't see anything that's inaccurate with that statement either. You can say that about a lot of worthless piece of crap human beings. I Love Defense is asking, do I not know what slander is? I'm an actual journalism professor. I teach the subject. So other people are saying I should just block this guy. And I'm about to, because the ignorance is literally just pouring out of the screen. And again, this is the ignorance that routinely comes from the Steve Kerr defenders. Routinely. Just the dumbest shit imaginable. No, I love defense. See, now you're lying. You're saying someone who said trade Kuminga, I told them to jump off cliff. It wasn't for that. And since when does a reply in Twitter represent reality? I love defense. You can come on this program and have actual discourse with me. something that I'm guessing whatever programs you do love, I'm guessing they don't offer that privilege. But you want to sit here and be a keyboard warrior, picking out Twitter replies, pretending that represents reality, acting like me telling some idiot that the world would be a better place if they drove off a cliff. That same idiot, side note, going out of his way to slander a lot of people. Slander meaning writing things that are not true about someone, yet writing it. Yeah, I'm going to ban them. They're done. Where is this person? No, you're out. But I do appreciate, I took that, I appreciate that person for setting up that bait, because it's a friendly reminder, again, of that section of the fan base and how dumb they are. Keep in mind, there was a section of the fan base that wanted Stephen Curry traded once upon a time. Same level of acumen. All right. So, anyways, now the Rick Barry thing, I'm going to play this clip that, because he went into the broadcast booth, and I really have a lot of disdain for most of these quote unquote fan accounts. Like there's, what are they called? Like there's like Warriors Talk, Warriors World. Just I don't know who's behind these accounts, but they pretend they're fans until they see opinions they don't like, and then the fandom just is secondary to whatever they feel, right? Very little objectivity in today's world, and these accounts are one of them. Warriors Talk, and SF Gate even wrote a column blasting Rick for this exchange. It was utterly insane. I invited the homepage editor of SF Gate, I think his name is Brandon Carrillo, correct me if I'm wrong of that, to come on this program and defend his words, because the words in this column were literally defamatory, and they were so off-putting, so off base, so inaccurate. And this douchebag dedicated a whole column just to rip on Rick Barry for this sequence right here that you're about to listen to. And I really hope that I really hope that YouTube doesn't flag this. Because oftentimes when I pull something up that that involves game footage, suddenly like I have to delete it because of copyright. So this is what happened in the broadcast booth during Sunday's game. Here is Rick Barry, who was a guest, and Kalena Azubuike. Can you folks see that? Hold on. No, I'm not sharing my screen. I apologize. And Kalena Azubuike basically disparaged the underhanded free throw shot. That's how this all started. Let's listen to it, and then we'll talk about it. And yeah, shots were absolutely fired. But what Kalena didn't realize, and first of all, Rick saying that was in jest. All right. The dude's like 81, 82. That's his sense of humor. But Kalena and what was not included in that clip, they came out of the commercial, and Kalena actually admitted when they came out of break and Rick was no longer with them that he should have been more careful with his words about the underhanded free throw, because that's a very huge part of Rick's life, his identity. Rick Barry, for those that don't know, before, I think he's second or third all time in free throw percentage. He was for a long time the record holder, the all-time NBA record holder for free throw percentage, and because of the underhanded free throw. His son Canyon shot the underhanded free throw playing college ball in the G League, and his free throw percentage was, I think, high 80s. Wilt Chamberlain, early in his career, shot free throws underhanded. The only reason why players don't do it is because of the aesthetics. It's because they don't like the way it looks. Rick Barry was once brought into the LA Lakers, I think during training camp once. I don't know if it was Phil Jackson or if it was Phil's predecessor. Was it West? I can't remember. But they brought Rick in to see if maybe Shaquille O'Neal wanted some coaching with free throws. And Shaq took one look at Rick, and when Rick started suggesting the underhanded thing, it was like, hell no. I'd rather struggle and have a low percentage than look like that. It's insane. It's insane. So when Kalena came out and said, yeah, I tried it and it didn't work, Rick took a little offense to that because, again, when Kalena said he tried it, I know exactly what he was saying. Like, I gave it a shot, and it just wasn't flowing for me. If you're going to be good at the underhanded free throw, you actually have to practice it. You have to actually dedicate yourself to it and probably spend a whole summer of figuring out how to do it properly and effectively. And that was Rick's whole point. But again, if you saw that clip, whatever, right? It was just a little joshing. Rick's a very direct person. And Rick, again, did not appreciate the underhanded jab. And so you had that clip. Unfortunately, you had a surprisingly large number of people suddenly coming to Kalena Azubuike's defense like he needs it, going out of the way to rip on Rick because they thought he was too mean to Kalena Azubuike. And none of those douchebags have the nerve, have the audacity to back up their talk. It's insane, man. The number of people who just hide behind keyboards, and the moment you challenge them, I gotta hide in my mom's basement, and I'm gonna type on my phone because I'm safe here. Douchebag keyboard warriors. It's embarrassing. Anyway, so to the guy, there's one in particular. I mean, Warriors talk was a bad one. And if Rick was out of line, I would have said that as well. He was not out of line there. But the SF Gate homepage editor, I'm going to call that piece of shit out right now. Because he literally went out of his way to slander Rick. Jeff Carrillo, that's his name. Jeff Carrillo, I've already reached out to every contact imaginable, inviting you on this program so we can go through your column that you put your name onto, where you slandered Rick Barry, one of the greatest Warriors ever, and someone who is not a bad person. The reaction to that clip is why Rick has a bad name in so many circles. And I'm sorry, that should not make anyone come to a conclusion that they're a bad person, like they have bad character because he said Kalena Azubuike was not a player. And he was saying that jokingly as well. And it did make for good TV and KN. Anyways, so shame on Jeff Carrillo, shame on Warriors Talk, whoever's behind that. The door is always open if you want to come on this show and have healthy discourse, but most of you don't because you probably have very little communication skills like Steve Kerr. You'd rather just hide than actually talk it out. And so we have a lot of problems in this world as a result of that. So I guess that's our show. I will say this. I want to show off one more thing because I did turn into a fan for a brief moment when I was at the Warriors game. What I mean by that is I was about to leave. I left like a little bit after halftime, raced home, watched the recording of the second half, utter disappointment. I was actually listening to the radio calls. I'm racing home. And as I'm leaving, I come across this spectacle. I couldn't believe it. I hope you folks can see this right here. This trophy, can you all see that? And my apologies to the podcast audience. I'll describe it the best I can. But that right there is the predecessor to the Larry O'Brien trophy. And it was called the Charles something. I'm doing my best to look it up. I forgot the name of it. And Larry O'Brien was a former NBA commissioner, and the new trophy eventually adopted Larry's name, and it's still called that today. It's called the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But the predecessor to that was this trophy right here. And the Larry O'Brien became the trophy in 1977. This was the predecessor. Here it is. The original was called the Walter A. Brown Trophy. That's what this is right here. This is the Walter A. Brown Trophy. They would not let me kiss it, by the way. There was one dude standing by it, and he was super nice, and he was giving me the whole story because I didn't even know what the hell this thing was. I'm like, what is this? I thought maybe because Friday night was an NBA Cup game, I thought maybe this was the NBA Cup trophy. And I originally asked that, and the guy was like, yeah, that's what it is. And I was like, okay, great. But then I'm looking at it, and if you look close at this plaque, and again, forgive me to the podcast audience. Oh, won't let me zoom in on that image. But down here, this plaque has all the coaches' names, like Al Adel's name is on there, all the players. And when I saw that, I was like, wait a second, that's not an NBA Cup trophy. And then the guy's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you meant like the actual championship trophy. And that is what the players would hoist. Back then, they treated it like the Stanley Cup. All 7 where like you'd hoist it around, like pour drinks, kiss it. But the guy wouldn't let me kiss it. I didn't push it. But Joe Lacob in the owner's office, I didn't know this until this moment. It's one of the privileges of owning an NBA team. The trophies are part of what you buy. The Warriors have 7 of them dating back to their Philadelphia days. All 7 of those trophies, including the current 4 of the dynasty, reside in Lacob's office at Chase Center. Folks, that's aura, or that's whatever the kids call it. That's just crazy shit. Yeah, the Walter A. Brown trophy. That is what that's called. And Young West is asking, did they give a tribute to Phil Smith? Yeah, they gave a tribute to, because only I think 6 or 7 players are surviving. And I think there was one assistant coach or a trainer. If you saw the pictures, it was like one little dude. I think he was one of the, either a coach or a trainer. But yeah, they definitely paid respect to all the members that were not there for this. Absolutely harmonies. RIP Al Adels, an individual that left his mark for all the good reasons in this game. Yeah, he lived a good long life, but it's a shame. Is there anything else? Are we done? I mean, we're going to be back tomorrow night. Again, it's the Warriors and the Jazz. And in case you're curious to know how the Jazz are doing this year, they're currently 5-10. I'm looking at their stats right now in terms of who's their leading scorer. Lauri Markkanen is averaging 29.9 points per game. They're also going to be rolling out Keontae George, is putting up 22.8 points per game. Ace Bailey, the rookie number 5 pick, is only averaging 9.1 points per game, but he's also only playing 20.3 minutes per game. Something tells me we're going to be seeing a lot more of him. Kyle Filipowski is a pretty damn good player. We might see Yusuf Nurkic again. We've all seen the history with him and Draymond Green. Should be a good time. And we're going to be back right at it tomorrow night with that. But just wanted to give you a little catch up on what went down Friday and a very serious communication issue going on between Steve Kerr and a lot of the players. It's just oh, and if you folks love photography, by the way, I was on my social media channels. Again, you can follow me there. I posted a lot of this stuff, but for an iPhone photo, that's pretty cool. No? Yeah? I was kind of proud of that one. That's Stephen Curry right there. I got a few in there. God, Steph's the man. That is it. I think we're done. Thank you so much. And again, we're back tomorrow night. With the holidays just around the corner, by the way, before we go, shameless plug time. I want to shamelessly plug our merch store. We've got a lot of great swag. I got a recommendation from Nick Fensky, one of our OG Golden Dazers. And side note, if you want to check out the merch store, that is it right there. It's also available on our YouTube page. It's very simple if you want to check it out. If you're looking for a gift idea these holidays for the Warriors fan in your life, or the surfer in your life, or the dog lover in your life, we've got a lot of stuff going on there. Check it out, please. Support the program. Yeah. Otherwise, we're back tomorrow night. Are we done? I feel like I'm missing one thing before we go, but I can't think of it. Yeah, I think I covered everything. Well, if I forgot it, we'll be back tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody. Our apologies again that we were away as long as we were. And let's hope the Warriors get back on track. Let's hope that the Warriors can beat the Utah Jazz. They're favored by 15 points in that game tomorrow. The vibe I'm getting is it's going to go one of two ways. Either that spread will cover easily, the Warriors will blow them out, things will feel good, or we're going to hear those goddamn sirens again. I don't want these sirens. I don't like Popo. I don't like ambulances. I just stay away. I want some peace and quiet, God damn it. And now I'm hearing sirens constantly. Do you hear those sirens? Are those just in my head? Do you hear those too?
Golden Days in reference to the Matthew McConaughey movie Dazed and Confused.
Now I hear Shardall. Where's Shardall, by the way? Where's my closer? No closer tonight. All right. That's it. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you as always for the support. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. Thanksgiving's just around the corner, so get ready to buy a screwdriver, but find a tool that can create a new hole, a new notch in your belt, because you're going to pack on those pounds and get bloated from all the Thanksgiving food. At least I hope you find yourself in a situation like that. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back at this soon. Bye-bye.